So when they got near my house, one of them dropped. And the car stopped just a few meters from the gate of my house. I told the gentleman kindly, hii gari iko na comprehensive insurance. If they make a mistake, kama werarua tu saidi moja, wacha insurance ikafanya ni kazi yake. Kasema, please don't stop for them. So we saw that person wanting to take out a gun. I said, don't you see what he wants to get out, to take out? So that's when he drove very fast and we left him there. I got to Hosanna and one of the kids tells me, so-and-so didn't go to school. I say, why? Can you call the person in the office? I say, I just said, I don't know why I said, can you tell me why I didn't go to school in the name of Jesus Christ? Ma'am, it's me who came to your house yesterday. You, but that was, when? At 3, I was sent to kill you, but you ran away. When we came closer, the driver stopped kidogo, and this man was like this at the court. So, and when he stopped, I saw that the person was a man with a beard, and this person who is telling me that he was sent to kill me is a woman. So I said, no, the person who I saw at my door, at my gate, was a man. He said, ma'am, I'm a devil worshipper, and I can change to become anything. This lady you can see here was born in early 60s in a place called Dumberi. Dumberi is in Kiambu County. That is where my dad's grandmother came from. Because my dad, when my grandmother was expecting my dad, his father died. So my father never knew his biological father. And he was that person that would go to school because he has worked. Yeah, he'd go and do some vibaruas and kashoreba and pay school fees for himself. Though it was literal, but it was not easy to get 50 cents for his school fees. Later, he went up to class 4, and I understand I was born the 6th in the family of 11. And so I'm in between my 5 siblings and the other 5 down. And after that, my dad went for green pastures to Uganda, because when the husband to my grandmother died, my father's dad died. My dad had no place. My grandmother could no longer live in his marital home for some reasons, maybe best known to her. So they moved out and came back. She came back to her parents, and that is where she stayed. And yeah, that is where she stayed until I was born. My father grew up, and he became a very committed person, busy, and though he was a class 4, we did what we call elementary something exams, and with class 4, somebody could get a good job. So he went to Uganda. He went to Tanzania first. He went to Uganda. That is when I was a small baby. We went to Uganda, a place called Ginger. They took me to he was working with Madvan Sugar Factory. They took me to Madvan Sugar Factory, the Madvan Primary School. Then, because it was a bit far from where we were staying, my mom saw that I was getting tired, and they thought of bringing me nearer. So I went to St. Teresa's Primary School, just under the hill of Mwiri, where we have Mwiri College, where Milton Obote, the first president of Uganda, went to high school. And so down there's a primary school called St. Teresa's Primary School, or Mwiri Primary School. And my dad bought a small land at a place called just within Kachira town, and and he built some rental houses there, and we also staying there. So I realized when I was a small child something that was not right, and I would get a lot of beatings. I would get if anybody would go wrong, my younger sisters would go wrong, everything would like, I would be asked of, why did your sister do that? Where were you? And I would literally have a thorough beating. Then it was this time that I asked my dad. I went to Madvan at factory. I said, I want to see Mr. Isaac. I was in class 1. Because I had a very bad beating, just a neighbor said something funny, and so I had a thorough beating. And so I thought maybe I'm not born in this family. So they called him and he came. I said, what is it? I said, Mom, Dad, I want to see you. He said, why? Why didn't you go to school? I was not able to go. I was beaten yesterday very badly, and I want you to tell me something, Dad. Am I the daughter of the lady I'm calling Mom, Jerry? And my dad said yes. I said, no, I don't think so. Maybe you took me from Kenya. Can't you go take me back to my mom? Then I started explaining to my dad my experiences with Mom. I saw my dad felt it, and he encouraged me. I felt so loved. So my dad never went back to work. He took me home, and he would encourage me, and like we went home. Nobody else knew that I didn't go to school. I went looking for my dad. Then from there, the journey continued, and like life was not easy. So now I would literally get thorough beating if I would go for 3 days of being beaten thoroughly, I would even miss it because I knew that I must be beaten. So I grew up in an environment of fear, and like I didn't know why I was being beaten all through. And for this reason made me become so different from my siblings. What have inspired me to share my life with the world? One is because there is somebody outside there who is going through what I went through, and maybe that person feels that he does not deserve to live. So I feel that by sharing my testimony would encourage that person to continue trusting God, and to know that there's a God in heaven who can change the life of a person and disappoint the thoughts, the negative thoughts of the people that were around that person. Because in my childhood, what I went through in the hands of very close people, I believe that none of them ever thought that I would get where I am today. And if they did know, I think they would have faked and helped me. So I thank God that they didn't know, that it was a secret. They never knew. I never knew also where the Lord is going to take me. I felt when I was in that kind of life down there, nobody to turn to, I made a vow before the living God. I said, God, if you will ever bless me, I'll use whatever you give me to help the needy, the poor, the fatherless, and the motherless. And little did I know that we have a God in heaven who hears prayers. I was 19 years old when I made that vow. And from the day I made the vow, 8 years down the line, the Lord fulfilled what he promised, because he spoke to me that dawn. And that is why I love reaching out, telling people there is hope, telling people there is hope. It doesn't matter how far you are from your destiny. It can take God just a fraction of a second to transform your whole world and to make you become what God created you to become. I thought there before that maybe I have no purpose here on earth. And I tried suicide so many times, about 4 times. I desired to die. When I knew that it was wrong to commit suicide, I desired to die. That was my desire. Like, I would wish somebody would come and just kill me. But that never happened till I realized I think I'm wrong. So I realized years later when I gave my life to Jesus Christ that I'm dealing with something that is so rooted that my parents cannot get me out of it. That is why the devil was using my mom. My mom was a very hardworking lady who loved her family, a very busy woman. She was a hotelier, always busy in the hotel, as my dad was working with Madvan. And so after this, I got to understand this later, way later after I gave my life to Jesus Christ, that mom never hated me, but I went through hell in her hands. I left Uganda after finishing my class 5 P5. So we came to Kenya. That is after the reign of Idi Amin Dada, when things were so hard, Kenyans would not stay in Uganda. So we came to Kenya and went to Kamahora Primary School, class 6. And that is the time I met my mom. My mom had come early to Kenya to prepare the ground for us. So we came with my elder sister, Margaret Ndegwa. So we were left with her. I was left with her with my brother, who is a lecturer, Paul Kemani, in Uganda. My brother, my eldest brother, Mike and Pius, they were working with at Hilton Hotel. They were at least my seniors. So we came to Kenya when I was in class 6. So this time I'd get out of school and go home. We must dig. You must go get water, fetch water. You must also go and make sure that at least you have, if not water, if not dug, you go for firewood. So in the forest, that is in Ndoinet Forest, our shamba, our farm was near Ndoinet Forest. So I'd go there and like fetch firewood. This was something very new. We had to learn to do those hard works because in Uganda we didn't have a farm. We didn't have to have firewood because we had a hotel. You know, like now as had grown up, a girl of about 11, 12 years, standard 6, you can understand, and standard 7, that is when small boys start approaching you like that. You get letters from different places, yeah. So, and one time mom sent me to the shopping center. Oh, and after getting out of there, some 3 young men followed us. We were 3 girls. They followed us from behind. And somehow we ran because we really feared. I feared mom. So I would make sure that nobody comes close to me, especially a man. So I ran so much, but I could not run. I could not run faster than them. So they caught up with us. And a woman in our neighborhood went and told my mom, "We saw your daughter with so-and-so," and like, where the hell broke on me, and mom beat me badly. So the following day, I could not be able to wake up. I would vomit blood. So, and when she got out of, she came back to her senses and wakes me up in the morning, finds that nobody's even talking to her. And she said, "God, I killed my daughter." And after saying that, he saw that I was breathing. He said, "You are pretending, okay? You're pretending." And like I tried to talk to her, but I couldn't. And so I walked up slowly, and I got out. When I got out of bed, I went to the table room, trying forcing myself to do whatever she wants. But she said, "Mama Sora is going to the clinic. You can go with her if you're not feeling well." I said, okay. I thought that was a relief because the following day I knew it was a weekend. I would have done a lot of work. So I thought maybe it is a relief. So we went to Mama Soro, but we could only go for some few steps, and I sit down. Few steps, I sit down. So when we went to see the doctor, when the doctor checked on me, he asked, "What is happening? What have happened?" And I started crying. And Mama Soro said she was beaten last night badly by the mother. That is why she's vomiting blood. And then they said we go for P3, to the police. And the lady said, "No, we can't do that. Where is this girl going to stay? She will have nowhere to stay. Kindly help her. Just treat her. Let's go back home. If you do that, she will never be forgiven." And then we persuaded the doctor, and he agreed. We were given some medication and I had to go for injection for about a week every day, and it was quite a distance. Now we went back home, and God helped me. I wanted to run away from home, so I decided to look at the map of Kenya. With that, at my age, I thought that when I look at the map, Wajir must be there. And this is Lake Victoria, this is whatever. So I thought, now I'm going to look for direction. When I look at the map, that wherever I'm going to face, if it tells me Wajir is there, I'm going to go to Wajir. I wanted to go the farthest. I could not get to see my mom. But I think he thought I would run away, and there was a lot of protection around me and all that. So anyway, children are children. I forgot so easily after getting healed. But I stayed home and all that. Later, I was looking for somebody who can care, somebody who can love me. And I fell in the wrong hands. After doing class 7, I became pregnant. You can imagine now what happens later. It was not an easy journey. Went through hell again. But I stood firm. I think now this time I knew what I wanted. Though I have a baby, a lovely, handsome young man, but I said, I had thought of doing an abortion. An abortion of somebody from class 7, trust me, has no wisdom to do that. But the devil is a schemer. When the devil wants you to get lead of, to do something silly, he will give you wisdom, he'll give you that advice. I don't know whether I'm going to call it wisdom. He would lead you to do what he wants because he's the devil. He's the father of all evil. So I thought of doing an abortion, and I thought of, I can go to a doctor who used to come to our place and who had a private clinic. So I went, looked for him, told him I'm pregnant, I know I'm pregnant, and I want to do an abortion. He said he's going to support me. So he gave me some tabs. But I took the tabs, went home with them, told me you can take them at night, and when you see you bleeding, don't worry. I went home, thought about doing an abortion. I thought about it, I said, am I going to kill my firstborn? Is it really wise to kill my firstborn? Will I ever have another child again? I said, I'm not going to kill this child. I didn't know whether it was a boy or a girl. I said, I'm not going to do it. I took the medicines, I threw them, and I prayed that God will help me with my child. And I prayed this prayer. I said, God, this is my prayer before you. Please help me. Let me and my son one day will look back. Even if we will have nothing to do, we will not be so well learned. God, help me that we will serve in your house, me and my son, me and my child. I pray that you will, even if I may not be so much educated, please help me and help this child that he will grow to become a great man. But I want to be sweeping your house, me and yours, my son, my child. Okay, now the desire to do abortion ended. So I went through my pregnancy with a lot of discouragements. I remember there's a relative who gave me some clothes, maternity clothes. Later, the person came for them. I was living in a lot of rejection. So people would say anything, tell me anything. So I in the month of November 27th, when I was 16, about 16, not 16, 16, about 16 years old, I gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. So I loved the boy, and 2 years later, my elder brother, I thank God for him and his wife, they thought of taking me back to school. So I went to school back to Nairobi in the city. They were staying here in the city. And so I went to Case College. It had a secondary school, a secondary stream, and a secretariat stream. So I joined Form 1. Now back in Nairobi, I'm not back in Nairobi, now in Nairobi, and resuming my schooling, it was like heaven had opened for me. And I went to school the first year, Form 1. I joined in the month of February 28th, I'll never forget. And after 2-3 weeks, we did exams, and I became number 10 out of 40 something. Then second time I never became, I was always in among the top 5. From there, something just happened. That rejection started following me again. And I may not say much about my secondary school life because I really honor and appreciate the people that took me to school. But it was not easy with us. I went some things that I didn't understand why, and they loved me, but they would still see the spirit of rejection following me. I would foot from Madaraka Estate to the city center. Like I would go to the GPO, trace where our school is, the Akamba bus, around the Akamba bus, because I don't have fare. And all that, I had my younger sister with me, who had also joined me to that school, and she was in Form 1. With her, she would get fare. With her, she would get lunch. Me, no lunch, no fare, no whatever. But I kept on trusting God. I said, okay, it's not a big deal for me to miss lunch, for me to go on foot. It's not a big. What I want is education. Moreover, I don't even deserve it. Yeah, according to how I felt, I never deserved to go back to school. It was just an honor from God. So I appreciated whatever was given. But as a being, I was still a minor at 17 years old. I would still feel that there's something that is not right. And I didn't tell you that when I was expecting my son Isaac, I was pregnant 7 months, I thought of killing myself. I went to Mangara River. I thought of throwing myself. Mangara would take even big rocks. We would take even, not rocks, big trees and uproot them. So you'd just see a tree, And so I thought of throwing myself to Mangara. It take even cows. So I thought of throwing myself in Mangara. And an old woman saw me going from the well, because there was a well, then down to the river. Saw me, I've left my mutungi, my car, like that container that we used to fetch water with, leave it at the well, but I'm going down to the river. What is she going to do to the river? And nobody can cross that river. So she started calling. And she called, and when you're calling, when you're up and near the river, the sound goes, like I knew everybody is hearing somebody is calling me. So I decided to stop, and she came running. She asked me, what are you doing? Where are you going? And I cried. She said, we know what you go through, but please don't kill yourself. God loves you. One day you look behind and see that the Lord is good. So she encouraged me, and I fell in the right hands. So I went back home. I was happy to have somebody who would talk to me. And okay, life continued, and so I gave my birth, and that was the same. I was expecting hell every day and every now and then. I remember when my boy was small, somebody told me, a relative told me, that we shall see where your child is heading to. He will take care of our sheep, and you'll be digging our farms. That is your destiny. I said in my spirit, in my heart, no, God, I cancel that. I'll never be like that. And that is what pushed me so much to be praying about myself. We take care of the Lord's sheep. Surprisingly enough, my son is a reverend. He's a minister of the gospel. My husband is a minister of the gospel, doing very well. So he's a shepherd today, but doing the right thing, and we bless God for that. So it was like a life of rejection from the day I knew myself to the day I got married. Now I get married. I came to Nairobi after in Form 2, my brother lost his job, so I had to go back home. So I went home. Life continued like the same. I had a proposal for marriage. A man who was married to my classmate, class 6 classmate, class 7 classmate, wanted to marry me as a second wife because I was a very hardworking woman. And during our time, people would look at those hardworking ladies and they would go for them. So this man is married, and he promises my dad a shamba. He promises my dad and some cows. And my dad was ready to get it. Yeah, because already when you have a child in our tradition, it meant that you are like a reject or something. So now there is even a name that they call you when you get a baby outside wedlock. Now I don't know what they call men who who have children outside wedlock, but with ladies they have names. So now I knew that is what people were calling me, but I loved my son. So I went home, and this man came home with some other old elderly men. So my dad called elderly men, and I was asked, I was summoned to go to the table room. I went. They asked me whether I would have accepted the hand in marriage for that man. I'm not going to mention his name. I've written a book, and in my book I call him Sumbua. So now I've written about myself, and I thank God. It's a very, very powerful book. It really encourages people. Those people that have not produced copies yet because of finances. I'm trusting God for financial breakthrough that I may have more copies. But let me tell you, it's a very, those that have already gotten some few copies that was given by my editor, they cry when they read that book. So now they wanted that man wanted hand in marriage, Mr. Sumbua. Let me call him Mr. Sumbua. And when I was summoned to the table room, the elder men asked me whether I would like to have a hand in marriage with that man. I said, if my mom is a second wife, then I'm going to get married and become a second wife. And I got out of there because I knew you can't dare talk to your parents like that. So I knew something wrong is going to happen. So I ran away and I went crying and said, God, now again, they want to make me get married to somebody who is a husband of someone. How am I going to be, a destiny killer of some children? I say, God, I can't be an intruder in a family. I will not do that. I want to stay like that. Yes, I went through what I went through, but I want to be like that. I want to stay like that, and I don't want to spoil anybody's marriage. So, okay, well, I refused. You don't know what I went through after refusing the hand in marriage. So that is when I decided to run away from home. I came back to Nairobi. I thank God I knew Nairobi. So now where do I go? I started looking for relatives. I'd go to, when relatives who didn't have house girls, they would see me. They were so happy. They take advantage, and I stayed there for some time. They kicked me out. So I was kicked out from 4 families of my relatives. This time I told God I would never go to any relative. Yeah, so I started, God gave me I believe it's God who gave me that kind of wisdom. I had only 4 clothes. So I would take 1 cloth. If I have a friend who is a girl, go to their place, leave it there. Go to another person in Rongai, that is in Dandora. Go to another person in Rongai. There's a girl there, leave my cloth there. Go to another place. And every time I'd come to your place, to that sister's place, that friend's place, I would say, okay, if I'd read in between the lines and I find that they don't want, they're tired of me, I would say, okay, I want to go home tomorrow. Home, which home? I didn't have a home. That wherever I was, I camped there, that was my home. Maybe stay there for 2-3 days and move to another place saying that I'm going home. I looked for a job. I had an uncle who was an ex-mayor in Nairobi. I thought he'd give me a job. Never did. Yeah, and I don't want to mention the names. But let me tell you, Dad, I went through hell again. So this one time I thought of, because of my walking from town city center to Madaraka Estate, I knew the town. I was passing through the Koinange Street. I knew what was happening in Koinange Street. So I said, God, I'll never become one in Koinange Street. Because when people kick me out of their houses, blessed be God, they used to call me, you prostitute, get out of our home. So prostitute, being a prostitute never clicked in my mind. I said, I will never become one. If God, you are tired of me, you created me, kill me. So now this time I thought of committing suicide again. I took tablets, 40 tablets. And because I had gone to a relative's home and now they're tired of me and I felt, let me die. Took 40 tablets, malaria, quinini, what. Took all of them together. So I sweat that night, that evening. So my brother thought maybe, she's, hallelujah, she has malaria. Said, enda ukachukue malaria zingine. Enda ukamchukulia malaria 4-2-2-2. That is how the dose was being taken. So I got another 4 tablets of malaria. I swallowed them. I wanted to die, but surprisingly, the following day I was still very much alive, but I had some headache, severe headache. I never died. I told them nothing, but I never died. So I thought maybe God doesn't want me to die. Okay, I stayed for some time. And it was from that time, after now taking the tablets, I thought of going to see an old friend in Dandora. And so I went, took a matatu, and just when I was at the stage, there's a car that came, a pickup car that came and stopped instantly, and I saw my brother's friend asking me, "Where are you heading to, Betty? What's wrong? Where are you? You mean you finished schooling?" I said, "No, because of lack of school fees." He said, "What? Did you do KJSE? That is in Form 2?" I said, "Yes, I did the final exams." And they told me that our company needs a sales lady. Can you come and try whether you can? That is your luck. Come, I'm not going to take you there, but I'm going to show you the factory. So we went, he dropped me near the factory. I went to the factory. I was good in English, so they asked me to write an application letter. I got a job. I became a sales lady of Standard Equipment, Kenya Limited. So I got a job, and that is how my star started rising. Well, the salary wasn't enough. I decided to employ myself. Life was not easy. And I'm sorry, between now going to that place, because I went to another place of my relative, they also kicked me out after taking care of their children, and they kicked me out. And so I thought of, like, I don't want to go to Koinange Street. I'm going to sleep here. So I slept in an incomplete house, because where I was thinking that I'm going to get somebody to help me, I found the people had moved out of the houses. You know, in Nairobi, people shift now and then. So there was nobody to give me a place to sleep. So I didn't want to go anywhere else. I knew maybe going to playing around with life, I may have another baby. So I decided to go and sleep in an incomplete house. It was an unfinished house. That is why I cried to God. I said, "God, I hear you created me. I don't want to go to Koinange Street, because that is not the purpose to why you created me. If God, you hate that, then God, please, I want you to help me. Bless me that whatever you ever give me, I'll use it to help the poor." I made up. That is when I made up. I was 19 years old. I used sacks, magunia za makaa. Where I was going to sleep, they used to sell charcoal. So they had empty bags that they had thrown there, though they had left. So I took the circle. One of them I had to put it on. The other one I had like cover it on my head with it. So, but it was a sleepless night. There was a lot of mosquitoes near Kenyago. It's around near Kenya, Dandora near Kenyago. So it was a sleepless night. But at dawn, I say, "God, if you ever bless me and give me anything that belongs to me, anything, bless me with anything, I'll use it to help the poor. I make a vow before you, my Father. If you ever bless me with a house, I'll use it to support the poor. If you give me money, I'll use it to support the poor. I'll educate, I'll do whatever." So I made that vow. But before dawn, I had a dream. And this is what I had, Justus, that I am the living God, the God of Moses and the God of Abraham. And he told me, "This is the house I promise you." I saw myself in a self-contained, two-bedroom house, self-contained house. And that took, from the dream, it took about 8 years. It came to be fulfilled. I got married to Mr. Njuguna, who is an engineer by profession. And life started changing. He started getting promotions in his job. And we had to move from Dandora now, the place where I slept outside, and we went to Umoja 1. Then that is the 8th year. It was around, thank God I met a lady. I don't know whether she's going to hear this, wherever she may be, may the living God bless her. She's a Luo. Her name, she was Sylvia, Mama Sylvia. I approached her. I said, "Mama Sylvia, unaweza kunifundisha kushona? And please, I'm going to pay you." And I told her about my life. She was sympathetic. She allowed me to get into her life. And she showed me how to make clothes. I became a dressmaker. Then I started doing whatever I paid her back. I paid her to the last cent. And then from there, I got married. But I was still now doing my business. I was the dressmaker. Then we moved from there to Umoja. That is when God again speaks to me. He reminds me of the day I slept outside. And now this was daylight. Saa tisa za mchana. The Lord spoke to me. "I'm the living God, the God of Moses, God of Abraham and Isaac. And this is the house I promised you. Trust me, Justus." Whatever, the colors were exactly what I saw in the dream at dawn. everything. I called my house girl. I couldn't, this is a person who was sleeping outside. I couldn't even afford even to pay a house girl. But this time I have a house girl. I've gone back to school doing dressmaking again, because now in Umoja, this is a different place. I can't make clothes the way I make clothes in Dandora to the Umoja people and the Buruburu people. So I had to go back to school. I went to Glasgow dressmaking tailoring school. Dressmaking and tailoring school. So after I got out of class, that is when again God is speaking to me at around 3 p.m. I'm the living God, God of Moses, God of Abraham. This is the house I promised you. I called my house girl, come. This is what I went through when I was 19 years old. The Lord spoke to me. He has spoken to me again. Thank God Rose was a backslider. She knew how to pray. So we thanked God with Rose, with my firstborn son. Hallelujah. And my small child now who is in US, the daughter now, the second born. Now, believe me, we thanked God. I didn't know even how to thank God, from where I didn't know about salvation. Here comes God speaking to me. And we thanked God anyhow. And then it's from there. I started now looking for a church where I'd get saved. I was very happy to have a reunion with my son after a long time. He went to school. He schooled in Wango Primary School in Dandora. And he finished standard 8 and went to Fajerico. I don't know what God was like preparing me. God knew that I was his servant. And he was preparing me. I loved my parents. So one thing I did, I forgive. And if they needed anything that is at my reach, I would support them with wholeheartedly. So our relationship never went from bad to worse. It stayed stagnant. So one of the mistakes that I made, according to them, is when I gave my life to Jesus Christ. So they were so hurt because I was brought up in a church whereby salvation is not mentioned. So when I gave my life to Jesus Christ, my parents were saying, what are you doing? Do you think that we were worshiping the devil? Nobody's supposed to get out of our church. No, you should even encourage your husband to come to, to be worshiping in where we brought you up in. So after some time, I felt, no, I think I wanted the God of Moses. I think the God that I wanted is different from the God I thought they worshipped. So I'm not saying they worshipped the devil. No, they were just good Christians. And now they were good Christians. They were good Christians. They were even leaders in the church. But this was different. My father was a drunkard. And now how can somebody tell you that you still follow them up? And so I started to keep quiet. I never answered back. When they said that, I said I would only go in tears, cry to God, ask God to reveal himself to them. And I remember before now coming to know Jesus Christ, I had tried another attempt of suicide. I'm now married. I thought now, because now you're married, you'll be the happiest person. You've chosen somebody that you have loved and all that. But things again, that spirit of rejection was still haunting me. And this time I thought of now taking my life. There was unfaithfulness in my marriage that hurt me so much. And I felt like dying, and because I'm a person who I love people. And I had made a vow before God that I would like to take care of the poor. So I took in somebody who interfered with my marriage, and the person I was taking care of the school fees and all that. So I decided to kill myself. Now my marriage is done. Am I going back to Kirisoi, the same life? See, I better die. So I tried suicide again. I had tried also to kill myself on Mombasa Road when I was still in school. And when I would go to Mombasa, naona lori inatoka Mombasa, and I would want to cross, and I would hear a voice asking me, unaacha mtoto na nani? Mtoto wako unamwachia nani? Who are you leaving your son with? And I would turn, look at the person who is talking to me. I would see nobody. Now, this time, believe me not, I took paraffin. I sent my son to go for paraffin. He was now big. He was in class 4. Go for paraffin. My second born was small. And no, I was expecting my second born. So he was in class 3, sorry. So he went for paraffin. And he thought that inaenda kutumia. We used to use for paraffin and gas. So he went for paraffin. I took paraffin. And I thought of, before I die, let me ask God something. I thought of praying. I knelt down. I had poured my paraffin on myself. So I said, let me say a prayer. God, if I die, I don't want to go to hell. Because I told you that I never had anybody preaching to me. I don't really, listen to songs. So there is the Kikuyu song that says, death is the way to heaven. So I said, because I hear, and there's an artist who said death is the way to heaven, let me come. I don't want to go to hell. Please let me come to you. God, this life is merciless. I said, God, let me come to you. And when I wanted to go to heaven, when I wanted to die, and I said, Jesus, if I die and go to hell, I said, Father, if I die and go to hell, ask your son, my blood, because I understand he died for me, but he doesn't want to save me. So I said, I believe that heaven laughed. When I said God the Father to ask his son about my blood, I know heaven laughed. So the heaven was willing to rescue me. So I took the match again. I stood up and took the match, ready to light myself. When I took sinatoanga kibiriti, then that's what we do, sindio. But trust me, these hands could not meet. So there was that divine intervention. I said, okay, God, you don't want me to come. You don't want me to come. Now tell me what you want with me. I'm willing to do it. I've tried suicide 4 times, and this is the 4th time, and you don't want me to come? I want to come. And it's as if you don't want me to come. You've stopped me from coming. What do you want me to do? I said, I repented. I said, God, I think I'm sorry. I think you don't want me to come. Now show me your will. I thank God I landed in the right hands. Deliverance Church Umoja. Anybody who have been brought up in that church, spiritually are firm and sound. Now I was brought up by my parents, and I started now going back to the field, to the world, because I remembered the vow, God, if you ever bless me, I'll help the poor. So when I gave my life to Jesus Christ, I started going to the streets. I would get those street boys, tell them God loves you. I was like you. There's a day I spent outside. There's a day I covered myself with sacks. He said, did Mama kweli? And I said, yes. I'd give them milk and whatever. And they would give like Jesus Christ. Come to Umoja. I have nowhere to take them to get saved and come to Umoja. So this is how my bishop learned, that I have a call. And he sent me to Bishop Thimba, who was in charge of evangelism. So we walked with my dad again. He encouraged me so much to continue evangelism. And later, suicidal thoughts had no place in my life again. I got hope. I trusted in this great God. I said, now rescue the street children. Now, what I used to do every Tuesday, I would cook pilau in my home in Umoja. Street boys would come to my house. And in my house, when they come, hakuna kutoa kitambaa, hakuna toa viatu, come, there you are. I would find that, like, I was asking myself, who am I? God, you brought me from this far. Can I laugh? Can I, say a word because of these people? So they can also change their lives. I would talk to them. And the reason why God led me to start a children's home is that after helping these big street boys and women, even after feeding them, they were still street children. They were still street families. I thought, can't I bring an impact? Can I make an impact? Can't I change a life of a person? God, what am I going to do? I'm giving them clothes. Tomorrow they are dirty. I take them to barber shop. Tomorrow they are just like rastas. God, what am I going to do? They're dirty again. So I thought of, can I change them? So the burden for me to change other lives led me to start the Hosanna Children's Home. So this time when I started the Hosanna Children's, I was full-time minister, and people said, my husband lost his job. So people were saying, huyu anaanza mji watoto yatima ndio asaidia watoto wake. Si mume wake aliacha kazi. Mume wake alifutwa. And people started talking so many things. I said, okay, God help me to become deaf and dumb. I don't want to hear what they are saying. They don't know my story. They don't know where you have come from. I'm going to put my focus on you and you alone. If God, you want this thing to be closed, you are faithful to tell me to stop doing it the way you spoke to me when I was sleeping outside. So I decided to pursue my purpose. And let me tell you, Justus, in Hosanna Children's Home, you've raised somebody like Muthoni Zipporah Kariuki of Inoro. Now she's in Britain. We've raised so many people. If you look at whatever in my whatever in some of in 2017, the time that I was in media in Gikuyu TV, you'd find testimonies of many people that God have used me to bring up. And that encouraged me to see that God is using me to change the life of somebody, and they're becoming great men. You can some others are in Dubai, and the people still did not stop speaking. Do you know something? Can I tell you about my work when I started a children's home? You know, these children come to me, they are orphans. Some of them, they are brought in from the police desk. You don't know these children. You don't know their background. You don't know what they are rooted in. Some of these kids, maybe for some reasons, they're initiated into things of darkness. And then they come. So I remember there's a time that I would hear some children from Hosanna, one have fallen at school, mwingine ameanguka, and there's a time they fall four. And they're in the same school. So they are brought, you can imagine now the scenery. They are brought like people are carrying them. And I would pray and pray and pray, demons would manifest. But these people that saw them fall, they didn't see the demons manifest and being delivered. So every time children would fall in Hosanna, they would say, si ni huyo mama, huyo ndio najua kila nafanya. And you know, that wanted to discourage me even from I thought, God, now do I cross these children home? Because people are saying that ni mimi, I don't know. Me, I was not, just as I've told you, my parents were religious. My parents were like those people who would not entertain anything to do with demonic, anything to do with the occult world. So they were just good Christians. They were not rooted in the things of God, but they were just good Christians. So every time things would happen with these kids, they would say, "Know your mama wa Hosanna," and this made me cry so many times. God, what have I done for these people? But what kept me going is after praying, and because after praying and standing, fasting and praying for these kids, they would be delivered. So I thought, okay, you mean I have another gift? So, okay, that kept me. And God will give me discernment. God will help me to know who is who, what is happening. And God enabled me. We have come from very far. So the one problem that I found when I started a children's home, the devil did not stop following me. You know, the devil wanted me to be rejected by people who were outside around me. And people would talk. Even imagine sometimes you take even the people who are talking are people that you think that they can support to help these poor children. But I want to thank you for a few people, a few teachers in some of the schools where we went to our children. I remember one head teacher asked his deputy, have you ever taken even one child that is an orphan? Leave Mama Hosanna to me. I'm going to help her. I'm going to work with her. Who told you that these children fall because of her? Do you know what it means to take other children that you don't know their background, and you take them, bring them, and help them? So he encouraged me, said, don't stop serving God. So I can see there are some teachers who helped him, but there are some people around there who talk a lot of nonsense as though they know you. Do you know there's some people who think they know you and they don't know even your second name. Now, anyway, the Lord continued encouraging me. I would see these children being delivered, and I would know the cause to the reason why they are like that. Maybe there was an altar in their family. Maybe there was something that was happening in their family. Maybe their parents who died had made some covenants with the devil, and like that. Yeah, the altar is still alive and speaking to the generation. So before I knew that, I went also through hell. And this time now I've become so busy. At times I would not I didn't have time having a children's home justice is a very, very tough job. One thing, unless God intervenes and helps you and helps people to understand what you're doing, you may live without a friend. Because even what people are saying, I even feared, who is now? But I thank God my board is so wonderful. We have pastors from different churches, bishops from different churches who helped me in the board of Hosanna. My son is also serving with me, and my family is also serving with me. My husband gave his life to Jesus Christ. My parents, before they went to be with the Lord, they gave their life to Jesus Christ. I want to thank you. I have a team. I'm seeing God saving my family. We have now about full-time 3 ministers in my mom's family that are serving the Lord. So, but it started with tears. It started with pain. it started like even people would question you. You know, people would call you names. People would like think that you like you have something to do with what is happening in another child that you don't know even her background or his background. So, but we thank God. After these kids are delivered, they would speak the truth. Yeah, they would even be sent to kill me. There's a time I was like coming from a certain meeting at around 9, and I told my driver, I can see a car following us. Kindly take care. I told, Mom, don't fear. You know, men, you love encouraging yourself. But he told me later that he had seen the car, but he didn't want to tell me. So when we got around the corner to get just off, that we get off the main road, that we get to the rough road that gets to my house, the car turned and followed us again. I said, now this time round, trust me, don't get inside the home. He said, Mama will not. So we went. I said, if those people, they turned, they were just in front of us. They turned first, they got into the whatever. So we had already turned. They went and like, wakajificha kidogo kwa kakona, and like, when, here is the car. I said, God, we are in for it. God help us. Please save us. And then I told him, go slow. Slow and let us see where they're heading to. So when they got near my house, one of them dropped, and the car stopped just a few meters from the gate of my house. I told the gentleman kindly, hii gari iko na comprehensive insurance. If they make a mistake, kama werarua tu saidi moja, wacha insurance ikafanya ni kazi yake. Kasema, please don't stop for them. But good enough, the neighborhood, the gate was wide open. So he's a fast driver. He got into the whatever and turned the car, and we went back to the police station. We reported. But no, when we got near the gate, they dropped somebody, and now they had dropped somebody. So we saw that person wanting to take out a gun. I said, don't you see what he wants to take out? So that's when he drove very fast, and we left him there. Later, trust me, I got to Hosanna, and one of the kids tells me, I didn't understand what is happening, and one of the kids tells me, I was told that so and so didn't go to school. I say, why? Can you call the person in the office? I say, kwa nini hukwenda kwa? I just said, I don't know why I said, kwa nini hukwenda shule in? Can you tell me why I didn't go to school in the name of Jesus Christ? Ma'am, it's me who came to your house yesterday. You, but that was when? At 3. I was sent to kill you, but you ran away. When we came closer, the driver stopped kidogo, and this man was like this at the court. So, and when he stopped, I saw that the person was a man with a beard, and this person who is telling me that he was sent to kill me is a woman. So I said, no, the person who I saw at my door, at my gate, was a man. He said, Ma'am, I'm a devil worshiper, and I can change to become anything. He said, I was sent to kill you, but when I came close to you, there was a wall that came between us. I couldn't see you. So I could see him doing like this, like the hand is here, like in anafanya. It's as if he's not seeing us. He's not seeing us, because to me he was a male. But just to find he's a small child, about class 8 or something. Yeah, but I didn't hate the child. I said, God, you brought him here to be set free. So I started fasting and praying, God, deliver my child. This is why you called me. And I am proud that the girl finished Form 4. And that is one of the instances. There are many. I don't want to share so many other things. I've gone through it. And like, they would be sent. Now, the devil stopped me to continue serving the needy children by saying that I want to start a home that I may feed my kids. When the devil saw that I was not ready to listen to him, he started using the same children to kill me. That is one of the instances. There are many other instances. Like one, my son was hijacked. The Lord saved him. There's another story to tell. And so many other instances. God has always been faithful to us. Now, what led me again to think of, now beyond now reaching out to the needy kids, because the Hosanna settled. God have helped us in a way or another, though we are still struggling in a way or another. But yeah, because of school fees. The school fees is an issue. But at least it's more better than the way we began, because we have our own piece of land. We are doing a bit of farming. Yeah, we can get greens from our shamba. There before we were on a rental place, and it was like a lot of problems to raise up money to pay the rents, pay my rents. I'm still renting even up today, but thank God Hosanna is on their own land. Praise God. Now, the reason why I was led to now start a rehabilitation center is that this time I felt love for the drunkards and the drug addicted people. I told my son, I'm not understanding. The same love I have for the orphans is the same love I have for the drug. Is there anything? Is God giving me a different direction? What is happening? So I continue now helping, bringing when Honorable Waitito was the MP for, the governor, sorry. He used to, kulikuwa na kazi mtaani. So you'd bring those guys together, and I would tell the person who was in charge in Githunguri sub-county to bring them together. And I would feed them, talk to them about Jesus Christ. I thought that is the way they're going to change. But all my efforts to bring them and give them food, I would use about 10,000, and they would not even change. So my efforts to bring them together and try to change them, I saw, unamununulia anakula ni, and then the next minute he's drunk. I said, hey, mother, and the person is, I said, God, am I doing a zero work again? I said, God, what do you want me to do? And the Lord led me to start a center. One reason is we have a success story of a boy who was a gangster in Mombasa. He gave his testimony. You see it because it's in the YouTube. He gave his testimony. But when I was told that he's being taken to Shimolatewa, I talked to the people who arrested him. I said, give that boy a chance and let him come to me. And I'm telling you, he'll never come back to Mombasa again. And it's a long story. The boy came. He was a gangster, a wanted criminal. But he came. I brought him in my house, and surprisingly, I thought that he's going to stop, like taking marijuana and all that. To do some search, after a month in my house, I found him. He had 49 misokoto ya marijuana and na cocaine. So this is my first time that I see cocaine. So I said, if I tell my husband, he's going to throw this boy away. I took the thing, I threw it in the toilet, in the pit latrine, and I kept quiet. I said, nursing the boy, walking with the boy. Now, do you know something? He's in Dubai, a graduate. He's done media. What would stop you from not thinking about the drunkard, that somebody can change? And I want to talk to that person, maybe who thinks you have come to the end of yourself. Maybe you got into being an alcoholic or a drug-addicted person because of maybe peer pressure. And I think because of discouragement. Every human being has a gap to fill. Sometimes you find these young men getting themselves drunk because there is a thirst they have. There's something they want to prove to the world. I'm somebody, mimi ni mtu naeza. No. So, and because of that, he works with the people who will mislead them. So I started thinking, can we change this life? If my son was changed and now he's in Dubai, he's a graduate, you can also be changed. That person that is outside there can also be changed. I thought I say, God, please help me. I want to reach them out. I pray for them. They get delivered, those that are bound by the demonic forces, by the grace of the living God, not by my power. It's to the glory and honor of the name of the living God. We help them spiritually and we help them medically. And this is when I thought, because I did a lot of foolish things, taking care of them in my own house, risking my own children, it's not an easy thing because I would not put them at Hosanna Children's Home. So I would bring them to my house, take care of them in my own house with my own children. And let me tell you something, Mungu too, God is faithful. Sometimes God, the Bible says that he came to shame. Jesus came to shame the wise of the world. Yeah, using the foolish, So in my foolishness, the Lord also moved. And I would never want to make the mistakes that I made. So this is why I thought of starting a rehabilitation center, do it in a more professional way. As we also pray for them, let us also think, what is the doctor saying about this person? Now I thought of doing that, and then we started the Loving Hand of Grace Rehabilitation Center at Joska. And the Lord has given us success stories. not even a year old, but God has been, although the work started so many years ago, but actually to start to make sure that we have renovated that house, we have worked with my landlord, we have taken care of whatever the Nakada would want. It has taken about a year, and also launching the home in February this year, and like all the teething problems, that's not an easy thing to start something new. And like my family was asking, another Hosanna again, Mom, you're going to go through what you went through. And so my kids who don't even want me to start anything like that. So they were telling, Mom, no, please, you're aging. Please stop this to us. So do something else. You're okay. You're a minister of the gospel. You can preach the churches that you have. Please, don't do something else that is going to make you become overworked. I said, but I have a passion. I want to see that person getting out of that. And I'm so happy that today we have success stories. I'm seeing the hand of the living God. I know that it's not only, yes, I remember there's one doctor who told me, he said, we treat, but God heals. Let's pray. And Dr. Nancy Ngogi prayed for me before she treated me. And I'm telling you, she asked me, you came on your own foot. I said, yes. I said, maybe there's a God in heaven. Do you believe in power of prayer? I said, I'm a minister of the gospel. I said, no wonder. So let me say, God has been so faithful. The Lord have helped us, me and my family. God have taken care of us. We've gone through mountains and valleys, but one thing, all my children have passion for the poor. Yeah, my husband have also been so supportive. Yeah, it was like in the beginning, things were tough, but I've been seeing the faithfulness of God. And that is why I want to let somebody who is outside there, maybe you're still maybe you're in denial. You're saying that I can't change. My life is over. I'm useless. Who told you? You are not useless. Till God says so, you are not useless. There is hope in Christ. There's a promise. God is a God who keeps his covenants. And when whosoever loves him, God is always willing to show mercy, not only to your children, but your children's children, down to 1,000 of your generation. So when God says so, and he's not a liar, he always makes sure that when you start with God, he will help you, and you end with him. And for me, I believe that you better die accomplished other than dying old. I'm not saying I'm dying young. Yeah, but die accomplished, die finished. Do what God created you to do, and do it properly. Do it well, for the Lord God is always faithful to see you through in whatever you undertake. God is a faithful God.